Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm opening Battle of Legends Volume 1 for Unmatched. So another Unmatched set, one of the first ones. We've got some really cool characters in it. Alice in Wonderland reimagined with a big massive sword. Medusa with a bow and arrow. You've got Sinbad and King Arthur. And you also get King Arthur with Merlin. You've got some helpers along the way as well. So you can see on the back like the Jabberwock and some other here, and the Harpies for Medusa, and Sinbad's got the Porter. So really cool set. Really interesting. I'm really looking forward to opening it up. If you got any strategies how to play these guys best, please leave them in the comments. And if you would subscribe to the channel, it would really help. We're trying to push for between 200 and 250 by the end of the year. So it'd be really useful if you would subscribe, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Let's get this one opened up and see what's inside. Okay, so let's get this one open. The first volume of Legends is a really cool one. Like Sinbad, Alice, King Arthur, and Medusa. Alice is Alice from Alice in Wonderland, I think, and she's got a massive sword. King Arthur comes with Merlin. They've all got kind of sidekicks. The Jabberwock comes with Alice. Sinbad's got the Porter, and Medusa is another really cool character from obviously Greek mythology, I think. She's got like the snake hair and everything. All these characters are ones I'm really interested in. I find really cool. Never so much Alice in Wonderland previously, but now that I'm into Wonderland's War, I've got a bit more of a taste for that story and actually really enjoy Wonderland's War, so I'd be excited to see what she's like in this game as well. Actually licensed out all over the shop. If it's not a license, maybe it must be open to general public, maybe. But really cool to see what these all look like. I love the way Alice looks completely different to what you'd expect here with the blonde hair and massive sword. Kind of reimagining. And then King Arthur with a sword and Medusa with a bow and arrow. As Sinbad with his double kind of blades. The rules as always, same kind of thing normally to start with. Set of rules, how the heroes and sidekicks work. Set up your turn, actions, maneuvers. And then normally there's a page saying what each one does, if there's any specifics, but doesn't look like this one's too complicated. This is one of the first sets, so you don't actually have anything showing what each character does, so they're mostly not super complicated. And then this is all the punch board that we get with the first one to see what they get. Lots of wheels. This kind of Alice token, I don't know what that's for, but size token it says, so not sure what that does. Nice map here. There'll be kind of a large map, a wooded area, a river, some kind of inside a boat area over here. Maybe to represent some stuff from Alice in Wonderland. And then there's a kind of floral garden here as well, and paths and this kind of pink. It reminds me a little bit of the pink sakura you get in Japan. But really different, quite interesting maps and quite cool. And then really excited to get into the actual bones of the game and see what the miniatures are like. First off, Sinbad, he's not sitting there, so, but he's got a really nice model, really good. Nice bit of detailing. His swords look really cool. He's got a kind of turban thing on, or a headband. I'm not sure what he's wearing, actually it's hard to see on the model. He's got quite baggy trousers and the classic kind of sword pose. Alice in Wonderland kind of Alice, she looks really badass. She looks like she's been ripped straight out of like a Monster Hunter game or something, with a big massive sword. If you've ever seen any anime, Berserk, Guts has got a massive sword, and the sword has even got a really nice bit of detail on, with kind of flowery royal pattern down the back, which is really cool. Really nice bit of extra detail that most probably didn't have to do, but is there. And she looks great. She's got short hair. She looks quite offensive, which is really cool and something new to see. And of course you've got Medusa with all the snakes, but she's also now got a massive bow and arrow, and the bow she's holding is huge. The arrow that's coming off is massive. That's going to do some serious damage. There's no actual strings on it, so it must be maybe a magical bow, or maybe they just don't put that on because it's too easily broken. And then the snakes on the back all look really cool and winding all down her back and everywhere. So yeah, she looks awesome. She's one of the best. And then good old King Arthur. You can't see his face very well because he's got a helmet on and a chainmail and stuff, and then he's got a big massive cape at the back and his big sword sticking up. This must be Excalibur, and he's looking ready for battle. He looks really nice. Being English, it's good to have a famous English king in there, even if his tails are slightly maybe over exaggerated. These are just the push things for the holes. I'm going to open up King Arthur first and have a look at what his cards do. Try and get through these a little bit quicker than normal because there's 4 of these guys. Arthur's got attacks which you may boost that attack. Play the boost card face down along with your attack card. If your opponent cancels the effect on your attack card, the boost is discarded without any effect. So you can boost his attacks and things. So that's really nice. You may only when he attacks. So this attack is only 2, but you can boost it. So during combat, you could boost this attack. You get 3 of those. Excalibur. You've only got 1 of these Excalibur cards, and it's a 6 attack. So you want to make sure you use that when you can, and not waste it. The Aid of Morgana is only 1 of those. After combat, you get to draw 2 cards, and it's worth 4 attack. These 2 defense and attack cards move King Arthur up to 5 spaces afterwards, so you can defend and run away. The Holy Grail, again, is only 1 of these. If King Arthur has 4 or less health, but he is not defeated, you set his health back to 8. So he goes back up in health, which is nice. King Arthur, there's a Lady of the Lake 1 card. Search your deck and discard pile for Excalibur, add it to your hand. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. So you can get that 6 attack card, but you're wasting an action to do it. Prophecy, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 of them to your hand and put the other 2 back on top of the deck in any order. So you can manipulate your deck a little bit. He's got 2 cards of Bewilderment, prevent all damage. This is from Merlin, and so is the last one, the Prophecy one. Prevent all damage, and after combat you may place Merlin into any space. You get 2 of those. That's really powerful. So you could be hit with like a massive attack and then just block it all out. Aid of the Chosen One. Aid the Chosen One by Merlin is 1 of these. It's a 4 attack, and if you won the combat you get to take 2 cards. It's 2 for Merlin of Restless. Oh no, that's just 1. Restless Spirits. Choose any space in Merlin's zone, deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter in that space, and in 1 adjacent space. If at least 1 fighter is defeated this way, you get a card. 2 of these, Command the Storms, move each fighter up to 3 spaces. You get them to run away a little bit or get into good attacking positions. Any putting have 2 of these attacks, move your fighter up to 4 spaces after combat. You've got some versatile cards with 4. That can be any. If you won the combat, choose 1 of the fighters in the combat and move them 2 spaces. Quite a common one. Momentous Shift is 3 for both attack and defense. If they started your turn in a different space, then this is worth now 5. That's in a few different packs, which is quite a handy one though. Feint, you cancel all effects on opponent's card. That can be really useful and comes in a lot of decks as well. And then last one, 3 of these regroup. Draw a card. If you win the combat, you can draw 2 instead. It's very unlikely you're going to win the combat with a 1 though, so you're going to have to think about that. Maybe you can attack and then boost it and then potentially get it, but highly unlikely without the boost. So let's go on to Medusa, see what she's got. So far I think King Arthur looks actually really cool because Merlin and Arthur have got a lot of good synergy going on, it looks like, but I've heard he's a little bit weak. So I'd like to try him out and see what I think for myself. Can't even open this deck of cards. Just get my knife on it. Medusa looks like she's going to be fun, but I don't really know what her playstyle is going to be. The bow and arrow, I'm assuming she's ranged, which she is, and the harpies are not their melee. But King Arthur's the other way around. King Arthur's melee and Merlin is a ranged fighter. So you've got a bit of both there in your team. And King Arthur's got 18 health, which is really high. It's one of the highest I've seen. I think the T-Rex is high, but he's very new and massive and very slow. Medusa's got 16 health, and the harpy is just 3 stat. 3 of these. And they're all 1 health each normally when there's no actual HP on them. At the start of your turn, you can deal a damage to an opposing fighter in Medusa's zone. That's quite a good start. Just give 1 damage straight away. She's got 3 Gaze of Stone cards. After combat, if you won the combat, you deal 8 damage to the opposing fighter. That's amazing. That seems really, really good. Medusa, you've got 2 cards for a momentary glance. Deal 2 damage to any fighter in Medusa's zone. And you've got Hiss and Slither, all 3 for Medusa, 4 block, which is quite good. And your opponent has to discard a card. Harpy, you've got 2 of those. Hounds of Mighty Zeus. After combat, each Harpy moves up to 3 spaces. You've got 3 cards for the Harpy there with block and attack. Your opponent discards a card after combat. Anyone can use these 2 schemes. Move each of your fighter up to 3 spaces. You may move them through spaces containing opposing fighters. Then return a defeated Harpy, if any, to any space in Medusa's zone. So that's quite good. You get to move them back. During combat, you can boost this attack. So it's a 3 attack already, and then you can boost it extra. 3 of those. Only Medusa. There's 3 copies of this dash card. Move your fighter up to 3 spaces after combat. Draw a card. 3 of those for anyone. Cancel all effects on your opponent's cards again. 3 of those. And then draw 1 card. If you won the combat, draw 2 instead. And there's 3 of those, but it's only 1 value. So a little bit of copy and paste, but some good skills. She looks quite cool. She seems like she'd be quite handy actually, because she's got ranged attacks as well. So the damage there is most probably going to be really good and hard to block. And then the Harpies, you've got 3 of those, so you're getting the extra space on the field to block off your opponent's movement and try and pin them in. Obviously they're only 1 health, so if they get hit once, they're done for. Means they don't last very long. So your opponent's most probably going to want to try and kill them off straight away to reduce your options and make it harder for you. Can't seem to open these cards today. They're just not opening properly. Sinbad's on for when you maneuver, you may move your fighters 1 space for each voyage card in your discard pile. So the more of those you've got, the more you can move. He's got 4 of these cards, Toil and Danger. After combat, you move Sinbad up to 3 spaces. Sinbad's got 1 of these cards, Voyage Home. During combat, this card's value is +1 for each other voyage card in your discard pile. After combat, you take all of the voyage cards from your discard pile and add them to your hand. So you build them up and then you can get them back. He's got 2 Riches Beyond Compare, where you draw 3 cards. An attack for 3 called For the Porter by Fate and Fortune. Afterwards, you draw 2 cards. Sinbad's got, there's 1, 2. Oh no, they're different. Voyage to the Isles that was a whale. During combat, this card's value is +1 for each of the voyage in this card pack. Oh, so they're all different voyages. Voyages to the Valley of the Giant Snakes. Voyages to the creatures with eyes like coals of fire. Voyages to the cannibals with the roots of madness. Voyages to the city of the man-eating apes. Voyages to the city of the king of Serendib. And then he's got anyone can attack for 5 and draw a card afterwards. Some cards here, which 2 leap anyway. If you won the combat, choose 1 of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 4 spaces. Nice. You've got 2 cards where you draw a card afterwards. There's attack and defense for 4, which is quite strong. A card for 3 attack or defense for anyone, and afterwards if you start in a different space, you get it to be 5 instead of 3. Again, that's used quite a lot in some decks, but it's quite a handy card to have. With the Feint, cancel all effects on of a card, yet again, we had that before. And draw 1 card if you won the combat, and draw 2 instead if you won. Draw 1 so just draw 1 card, but if you win, you get 2 cards. That's in quite a lot of the decks. Again, he's got funky stuff, and he's got this porter guy who helps him out. And then Alice has got the Jabberwock, who's quite a dark creature. You can't really even see very well on the coin. Comes out the shadows, I guess. Causes some damage. This one isn't sealed very well as well. Let's see where the tag is. Let's come off. Got it. So this is the one I'm probably most interested in for now. But I think Medusa and King Arthur both look cool as well. Alice, when you play Alice, choose whether she starts the game big or small. So that's what this counters for. Big is +2 on attacks. And when she's small, you add 1 of the value to a defense card. So big to attack, small to defend, basically. Alice's defense, she's got 2 of these to start with. A Looking Glass. After combat, choose 2 different effects. Draw 2 cards. Alice recovers 3 health, or place Alice in another space. Some attacks for Alice. Oh, they're different. 1 for 3, Snicker Snack. If you won the combat, look at the opponent's hand and choose 1 card for them to discard. Oh, Frabjous Day. After combat, you change size, so you go small to big. So if you're going to defend after, or it's your last attack, last move, might be a good one. After combat, move Alice up to 3 spaces, then move size. Or change size, that's good. 2 of those. Move Alice up to 3 spaces and change size, another scheme kind of card. I'm late is 3 of those for Alice. After combat, you get to move Alice up to 5 spaces and then change size. Alice has got 2 Drink Me's. Draw 2 cards and change size. Jabberwock, there's 2 of these, 4 attacks. After combat, you deal 2 damage to any one fighter adjacent to the Jabberwock. Both Jabberwock and Alice are melee, so they're going to be adjacent, so it's kind of like a 4 attack and then 2 extra damage on top. During combat, with this one for the Jabberwock, if the opposing fighter is a hero, this card's value is 5, so you're good to attack their main player rather than their sidekicks. Any can use a momentous shift. If your fighter started this turn in a different space, it's worth 5. Yeah, similar to what we've had before. Skirmish, if you won the combat, choose 1 of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 2 spaces. 4 value for defense and attack. Mad as a Hatter, move each of your fighters up to 2 spaces and change the size. That's an Alice card. These are any with the spiders. Manxome Foe. During combat, discard the top card of your deck, add its boost value to this card's value. So it's a 3 card anyway, and then you're getting a boost on top of that. So that'll be nice, whether attack or defense. And you got 3 of these, cancel all effects for other cards, and then 3 of these, I guess, regroup, draw a card. If you win the combat, get 2 cards. So there's a lot of those 3s at the end, but really nice. Overall, the set seems really cool. A lot of really interesting characters, and it's going to mix and match great with the rest of the stuff we've got for Unmatched. So look out for more content on the channel. We're going to do more Unmatched stuff over the next month or so, try and get some other stuff in there as well, and have a look at the other packs we've got, including Bruce Lee and some of the other rare ones. Please leave a like and a subscribe on the channel and make any comments you want. Which one's your favourite? I'd particularly like to know who's the strongest out of these 4 to give them a go soon. Please let me know. Thanks for watching. See you soon.